is the stabilization of pigment in our vegetables and how different things affect our vegetables. On the final exam, we talk about what is the most stable pigment, and the most stable pigment is orange. So when we're cooking green vegetables, we want to cook them in a little, and you'll see I'm going to show you an example of it. I'm going to do, this one back here is alkaline. We'll be pretty dramatic with it, how about that? And here is going to be salt, so we'll be kind of dramatic with that. I'll just get some more, okay? And pretty dramatic with acid. So if I put carrot in all of these, nothing's really going to affect the color. When I'm cooking like sweet potatoes or potatoes or things like that, I generally want to cook those covered. When I'm cooking green vegetables, I want to cook them uncovered. It's always in simmering water. So we'll see how these different things affect it. I will tell you though that with anything that you cook in alkaline, while it will turn nice and bright green and fantastic, it changes the structure and starts to break down like the cell walls of and becomes slimy and almost obliterated. So we have carotenoid, we have chlorophyll, which is our green, anthocyanine, which is our purple, lipocene in our tomato, and flavonoid in white. So to be able to keep the nice bright white color, we need an acid. So let's see a couple different things. Let's start with greens. Now we just grab a couple plates and a spider and a pair of tongs, pretty please. So we'll drop some of our greens in our alkaline. A couple there. In our salt water. And a couple here in our acid.
Vinegar.
Yeah, my greens. I also roasted some Brussels sprouts, and I'm going to do this recipe for you from David Che's book, Cook. And these look really dark, and they are. They're deeply caramelized. I'm going to do a fish sauce ready directly to temperature. Some fresh mint and cilantro, a little bit of sugar, lime juice, and fish sauce. And it's really good. Sir.
What do you think on those when you roasted them?
Just a little bit of olive oil. Yeah. So checking out what's going on in here. A whole lot of nothing so far, right? What do you see so far though, like with the different colors? Which one is the brightest? Baking soda, right? So baking soda brings out the most vivid of colors. It's also used quite often when people have a lesser than quality, vegetable or that they want to make it. What'd you say?
Cheating.
They're cheating. Yeah, it's cheating. It's cheating.
Cheating.
At the end of the day, that's what it is. I'm gonna push this one off to the back so I can get in there and light my towels on fire. So this class was asking if I light my towels on fire.
Yeah,
Somebody else.
somebody. Yeah, my class. How she didn't light her towels.
I do occasionally. I always can smell it.
I think everybody does.
So while we're waiting for those to cook, we're going to start our tournée glacée. We start with the carrots first. This is just empty. We start with the carrots first because they are rootier, as you noticed when you were peeling them, right? And they're more dense, so they take longer to cook. And I'm going to overcook some of these vegetables just to kind of prove the point.
Pretty much the same as the peachy.
Exactly the same as the peachy, just might take a little bit longer.
It's not sugar, is it?
It's salt. Remember we salted it yesterday? And on goes the cartouche. So exactly the same as yesterday. So we're gonna let those simmer. And when those are mostly done, like I can pierce them, then I'll add in the turnips. The turnips are more porous, they'll absorb more water, and they are a softer vegetable, so they won't take as long. So those are going. In the meantime, we have our lovely raised red cabbage.
Your favorite.
My favorite.
Show us your favorite.
I'm going to. So we'll start by rendering some bacon. Some lovely bacon. That removed, chopped up, of course. And actually, I shouldn't diss it. I mean, it's, you know, it is actually pretty tasty. It's just not my kind of tasty. So I also am smoking some cauliflower over there that I'm going to roast. And I'm also going to roast up some of these squash. I'm going to make a fruit platter for you in 40 minutes. So while that's rendering down, those are cooking, let's come over and take a look at our beans and see what has happened. So, just regular salt water. Not bad. Nice bright green. These are very salty. Don't recommend eating them. Just a minute more.
Oh.
Air acid.
They're acid water.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So canned vegetables generally have some sort of acidic component as a preservative added to them. Let's take a look and see what happened. Move some more stuff aside here. So here's our acid. Here's our baking soda. And you can see that if I let this sit for a little while, if I start to rub them, they'll start to break apart. And then our green veggies, our salt. So what's our summation?
Cooking into the pulp better.
Salted water, right? So we season it up, and we're good to go. So I'm also going to show you one with some red cabbage, and this one is the fairly most dramatic of them. And this is going to be a good example of what we're doing with our braised red cabbage. So we'll start off with our baking soda. Salt. And acid.
Oh, it's turning blue.
My hand turned purple when I was cutting.
The water's looking this whole
Yeah. We'll let that cook in there a little bit.
That's the problem right here. It's so simple.
In the meantime, I'm going to add the onions to my bacon. So which one looks the most
Tasty. The bacon
crazy?
onion.
Yeah, crazy is the
Yeah, the bacon onion looks the better.
Tasty.
But the blue water, what's the? Is it?
That was kind of weird.
And the other one's purple.
That's going really blue. That was going with red.
Whoa.
That was under bubbles. I can't see.
All right,
But they're like green bubbles.
It reminded me of Easter.
Everybody says that.
Yeah.
It's the funniest thing. So using, so let's pull out salt water.
Water is colored.
Straight salt water.
Ooh.
acid.
That's a pretty color though.
Then this fiasco. Now look what happened to the vegetables. So you saw I put the same amount of everything on there.
So that's how they use cabbage for meals.
So let's come and take a look.
Nasty spinach. Yeah.
So, like the green one there, that's what happens with the baking soda in the water. This one
Oh,
turns like a. It started off as bright blue.
oh. Put on a little.
And then just salt itself.
Yeah. Sorry.
Look at the water itself, just in the salt. I think it's just the coolest color. This is just salt. So now my my carrots are nice and tender. Oh, getting there, closer. So now I can add in my turnips. Lid back on.
Cartridge
Let
back
those
on.
simmer for a while longer. Now back over here, back of the ranch. We have, there should be sugar mixed out for this, but we use water or stock. So I'm getting some color, and I'm okay with that. I want color today.
That's salt. No, I don't want anybody makes that butter.
over there. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Butter sugar. Butter. Should have some butter left.
Oh, there's cubed butter in there.
Yes, there is, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
Oh, wait, there.
there's a mousse cup right there. This had an onion in it. Ooh, this is
All right, so I'm actually going to add the sugar now. I know that sounds odd, but I'm going to add the sugar now to this onion mixture. And we want like an agrodolce, sweet sour, right? So this caramelizing in with the bacon fat and the onions. The aromatics that we're using, clove, peppercorn, cinnamon sticks, and allspice berries. So it's really nice and aromatic. So I'm getting a nice caramel on the bottom. I'm going to deglaze this whole bit of business in a little bit. So to this, I'm going to add in my cabbage. And so my deglaze is going to be red wine and red wine vinegar. So we'll start off with our cabbage. Your mom did?
yeah. I made it with apples and everything.
So we saw what just straight salt water and stuff looks like. This breaks down quite a bit. Just like those greens, I started with a full set of greens. My veggies are almost done there. Squeeze those down a little bit with that bacon fat.
Don't mind cabbage.
You don't like cabbage?
Oh, I don't mind it.
Oh, a lot of people don't.
I like cabbage, I don't mind. The sweet part, I don't know. I'm not a sweet person.
Yeah. I'm trying to see what happens.
Fun.
First we'll start off fun. Cooking's fun. Start off with some red wine, which has acid in it, right? You can see already just adding that, how much it brings up the color. Remember, whenever we add wine, we need to reduce it down. So, I don't know, did this recipe call for stock? I don't think so.
Water or stock?
Water or stock. All right, so that got it fairly bright. We're gonna let that reduce down just a skosh. Take a look over here, let these reduce. where we're at with them. They're getting there. Carrots are looking nice and tender. We're almost there with those and reducing the water down. The whole school will smell like this. Delicious.
Should we take a plate page every class?
What's that?
Should we take a plate every class just for fun?
I think you'll like it actually. This is my personal preference. Doesn't mean it's everybody's preference.
It could be so nice and
When the
shared.
turnips start getting, you can tell that they're done is when they start becoming translucent. You see that in there? They're slightly translucent and they're starting to become nice and tender. Not this big honking one I did, but definitely getting there. So I'm gonna let almost all the water evaporate out of there, just like we did yesterday. Then we know that we're done. The other thing I want you to notice is what happens with the bubbles with the sugar. So let's add in our butter. Random shape.
Do a butter tornado.
Yeah. A little butter.
And I would
And
just
our
shape
sugar.
it. Get a mold.
And with that little bit of water that's still left, we'll start to make our lovely glaze. So when sugar starts caramelizing, there's still a little bit of presence of water left. You'll see that the bubbles are quite active and small. As the water starts to evaporate out of the vegetables, the bubbles start to get bigger and fatter. So at this point I have a lovely shiny glaze. I'm going to go just a little bit longer on them. This one's just a little bit different than the carrots. And we can add parsley to this as well if we wanted to. Just for contrast. So the bubbles are big and fat. I got a nice shiny glaze. And the veggies are cooked all the way through. They got a little dark, some of them.
I forgot my butter.
Some of us watery.
Oh, hush.
Notice, yeah, the round pan
Cute.
burned on, or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I
The
didn't
round
use
pan caramelized quick.
So nice, shiny glaze. Just a lot of beautiful shine. It's what I'm looking for.
Look at that color.
Now I'm going to add in
Vinegar.
some stock and then I put vinegar. Just a little bit. Stock. We're going to braise it.
Better flavor than water.
Remember, you gotta have liquid in it to braise it.
Then I'm going to add my aromatics, and then let's watch what happens when we add in. First, we'll add our apple in too. Today you can add it in towards the end, but I'm going to add it now. So they get nice and tender. And acid. That'll start to come nice and beautiful pink for us. The apple. That's the part that I hated.
Yeah.
It looks like Halloween.
I like the color of that.
All right. So I'm going to season it up. Just a little bit. Season a little bit now and a little bit after because we're reducing it down. I'm actually going to put a cover on it.
Steam bath.
Steam back, steam back. All right. Did you guys try the glazed vegetables or no?
Yes.
Mix in here too. I'm going to get some fresh tomato.
Is this the char and the kale?
This is charred kale. A quick little dressing for your.
What about the
I love
This
it.
I'm going to braise till they're nice and tender. I'm going to go for a little while and then uncover them and let the liquid reduce. So now we've done everything we needed to do. We'll season those up. Now I'm just going to play for a little while.